I enjoy racing late models and love coming to little short tracks like South Boston.
Welcome, race fans, to CAS NAPA Race Night. You're joining us on all of our social medias. We welcome you in to South Boston Speedway. Glad you're joining us once again. Had a couple things change. We had some weather come through the area, so we're now in practice/qualifying for the Southside Disposal Pure Stock Division. My name is Scott Shive. I'm joined alongside by Kyle Haney. Again, we're so glad you're joining us on our social medias for our qualifying broadcast. But Kyle, it's a bit different. This is practice, but also your best time in the session is going to be what you set for qualifying.
Yeah, normally on our normal race days, it's practice first, then you get a break, you can work on the car a little bit, and then you go qualifying, Scott. Today, because of the weather that moved into the area, track officials made the division to condense the schedule. Made the decision, rather, to condense our schedule just a little bit. It's worked out perfectly. You can see the sunshine on your screen there, and if you are around the area, we want you to still come see us for CAS Race Night.
Weather's looking a lot better.
It is. It really is. The forecast is looking great.
I cannot guarantee that we're not yet out of the woods.
Sure.
But
sure.
It is looking a lot better and more improved from maybe what you were looking at this week or even this morning. So, yes, please come join us at the racetrack. BJ Reeves currently up atop the boards. He said 2 weeks ago, after his third place of the season, he finally felt like he might be finding something this season that could compete with Jay Hemingway and Johnny Lane. And he said he feels like he's very close. A victory could be on the horizon before the end of the 2026 season.
And BJ Reeves won the Small Town Design Co. Pole Award on 200 nights. So that shows you right there. He's got some speed back in that vehicle. It's speed that we got so accustomed to seeing the last 2-3 seasons. It has been, by all standards, including BJ's, a down year, but it just feels like he's on the cusp of bursting into victory lane again. Bottom of your screen there, you get the number 10 of Anna Mayo. She's been a great story that we've been watching all season long. Her dad was a longtime competitor in this division, and Anna said she's been around racing her whole life, so it made a lot of sense to jump in and drive herself. Topside is number 31, Caleb Sanford, a pretty good endeavor right now in the practice/qualifying. Those times you see on the left side of your screen are their best times. So, Dylan Davis at the top. That snuck in on me there.
He jumped up
Scott,
just a moment ago.
Yeah.
You were going down. We were talking about Anna. We were hanging out,
Yep.
talking about Caleb Sanford. Caleb Sanford is a really great qualifier.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like really he's had more trouble being able to keep the car up there. Best finish of the season for Caleb was a third place through the middle of the month of May on May 16th. But he's been getting a lot better here as of recent. Has a couple top 10s, nearly a top 5, a 6th place at the beginning of June. So he's been getting better about that in-race speed, but it is clear that that 31 has great qualifying pace.
Definitely. Caleb Sanford, pole sitter back on April the 4th. So he has been up front leading this Southside Disposal Pure Stock Division. But as you said, the in-race results just haven't quite been there yet. I'm impressed with Dylan Davis. Davis, 1 win this season, 2 last year for the black number 63. I can't wait to see if this time holds up, but we will have to wait just a little bit as Johnny Lane is still out there taking time in his number 9. Looks like he's going to park it now. We also have Kendall Milam in the white number 28. That's the bottom portion of your screen. Kendall Milam right now on the bottom of the board time-wise. Let's see if he improves as he zips by. Kendall Milam is another one, such a fan favorite, won a lot of races in the Hornets division, has 1 victory in the Pure Stock division, but just feels like he wants more.
Yeah, that 28. This is a car owned by Andrea Ruotolo, one of our Dollar General Hornets drivers. So it is a new vehicle to the Milam family relative to this season, rather than the old cars they were racing last season. They've just been trying to work out the kinks, and Kendall said it's been a tough year. When we're building a new car and rebuilding it, we're consistently figuring out more and more. We've had a good speed in a few of them and been able to hold our own, but at times, even if the performance doesn't show it. So even he said to us himself that he feels like we're getting better and better, just having to figure out this car because it is definitely different. And I was having a conversation with Connor Waddell this morning, just talking about even with late models, and it trickles down to any race car you own or race. Each car, no matter how perfectly built or how similarly built, all of them react differently. So it is really a car thing. You could throw a setup on the same setup on another car that's fast, and that one could be way slow. And that's what I think the Milams have been trying to figure out about this new Southside Disposal Pure Stock.
Yeah, Kendall made a couple posts on social media early in the season. He said, I think I need to be more aggressive with the car. I wonder if that's tougher when somebody else owns the car, right? You don't want to get too aggressive with it. If it's your own equipment, you don't mind taking some chances. But I do know Kendall Milam is talented, and he's going to improve with this ride. Right now, Dylan Davis still holding steady with the quick time at the moment. Kendall Milam still turning some more laps. Interesting note about Johnny Lane.
I was just going to say.
Made history last week. Currently right now sitting in seventh, the seventh quick at the moment. That's a little different for Johnny Lane. We mentioned the schedule has been condensed, so you never know if a driver maybe you roll off or pull it out of the trailer and there's something that's not perfect. You go to work on it, maybe don't have as much time to get it fixed and diagnosed and all those things. I mean, Johnny Lane's not off the pace by that much, but it's interesting to see Johnny Lane starting, he's going to be starting in the fourth row, correct?
As of right now. And we still, the red flag is not out yet, so we still have some more time if any of these Southside Disposal Pure Stock Division drivers still want to go out. Now the red flag's been displayed, right? As I'm saying that. No more time. That is it. That's all you've got. Dylan Davis will secure a second pole of the season, second for his career. That is, of course, unofficial, but that's going to make the job really tough for Johnny Lane to maybe get career win 39, and I think that really bodes well for BJ. Just talking about him and having some struggles this season. I think Davis has had them too, but obviously he's been able to get a victory so far in 2026. So if it really benefits anyone that has had the most trouble comparative to a season ago, I would say it's BJ Reeves.
I think that's a fair point. Wins this year in the Southside Disposal Pure Stock. Johnny Lane has 6. He has won 6 of the 9 races. Jay Hemingway with a victory. Dylan Davis a win. Jarrett Johnson, our other winner in this Southside Disposal Pure Stock. We talked about first-time winners in the Hornets. Jarrett Johnson and Jay Hemingway are our first-time winners this year in the Pure Stock division. They're still looking for career dubs number 2, but who knows? Maybe one of those guys could pick up a second victory of the season and the career tonight. We'll see. This is CAS NAPA race night. And we are glad to have you. We're doing a little social media broadcast / warm-up, giving you a sneak peek at the activities. And we would love for you to join us on Flow Racing. Our Flow broadcast is going to crank up around 6:35. We're still on track to have our first Gutterworks green flag at 7 p.m. And even better than Flow, not that there's anything wrong with Flow, we love it, but even better is seeing it in person, Scott. So we hope some fans, if you're on the fence, get off the fence and get in your car and come see us.
We'd love for you to come join us for CAS NAPA Race Night on July 11th. The first, I guess it's the second weekend actually in July.
True.
If you were hanging out last Saturday, I imagine you were hanging out for 4th of July weekend, which was so much fun celebrating America's 250th birthday, which the celebration doesn't end, Kyle. I mean, it's the 250th for the whole year.
Right.
And now actually we're really in the 250th because before it was still 249.
That's true. That's a great point. You're right. So you can really dig into the celebrations.
It's still summer.
It is.
It's the high point of summer right now. Go out on your other weekends, not when we have races. We want you to be here, but have some vacation time. Take some time off. Enjoy the outdoors. And speaking of outdoors, we'll be able to support one of our great outdoor friends in November 14th with the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation with the 3rd annual Crush 250. Our good friend Mark was here today with the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation, showing some of you guys out there actually around in the grandstands. We're going to be glad to have them join us back for the 2nd year for us, 3rd year annually for the Crush 250.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Good call by you. Visit that schedule at southbostonspeedway.com. Fans, buy those tickets for the Crush 250 and buy some tickets for this event as well. Here is really what is the feature division tonight. I know our late models, they never take a backseat to anybody, and late models have twin 75, Scott, but tonight for the Budweiser Limited Sportsman, it's the 3rd annual Kenny Meadows Memorial Limited Sportsman feature. This has really become one of the premier limited sportsman events, and we've got some extra bonuses tonight thanks to some of our wonderful partners. It's over $17,000 in purse money and special awards on the line tonight. And we have our first group of cars taking time / practicing here for the Budweiser Limited Sportsman. These are names that we've come to know all season long, but we do have a few sort of newcomers that have turned up for the event tonight we'll tell you about. Right now in this first group, Adam Murray in the 81, Landon McGowan in the 8, and Tristan Brunelli in the number 18. Brunelli is the wins leader in the division, Scott. He is not the points leader. That's Drew Dawson. We'll see Drew Dawson come out and get on his stopwatch here in just a moment. But what a season for Tristan Brunelli.
Yeah, Drew Dawson, Tristan Brunelli, they have been the class of the field, and it really hasn't been perfection for Tristan Brunelli. Has had some hiccups here and there. Do want to make a mention to you fans here about this practice / qualifying for the Budweiser Limited Sportsman Division. It's a little bit different than the 2 previous and the Hitachi Energy late model stock cars. These drivers have to come down to the end of pit road in turns 1 and 2. They have to declare to our safety officials that they are coming out to make their qualifying lap. Now, of course, before any of that, before they declare, they can come out, practice, make as many laps. But once they declare they're going out for their qualifying session, they can make as many laps there. But Kyle, following that, they have to pull into the tech shed, be able to check. That's because of the tire rules. They have 2 tires every other race weekend, so we got to make sure we're keeping that fair and that nobody can maybe go on back into their pit, slide on a fresh set. We want to make sure that everybody's keeping it within the rules. That's why our race control and race directors have determined it to be this way for practice / qualifying.
And they're competitors, right? They're always looking for an advantage. If that means bending a rule, we don't have any drivers that would ever break a rule, but they might bend some rules. So that is a part of the reason for that declaration about when is your qualifying effort going to come. There's a look at number 3, Nathan Cruz. We call him the Cruz Missile. He won the first 2 Kenny Meadows Memorial races, and Nathan Cruz and his team have been working to repair damages and different things that have happened all season long. You knew Nathan Cruz was going to be here for this one, though, didn't you, Scott?
You did. I mean, we said it, 2-time defending winner. It's something about this event. And, of course, this is the longest race we run all year. Differently, it was run in April last year. Really, it was our opening race of the season. Yeah. So it was the build-up. We had the build-up of the whole off-season for the Kenny Meadows Memorial. I was going to say 200. That was the Thunder Harley-Davidson 200. It's the 3rd annual Kenny Meadows Memorial race. But Nathan Cruz, there's something about this event and those 75 laps that he just is better at than anybody else. And I really do question who could come in and maybe take the cake over him.
Well, somebody like the man on the bottom of your screen, Drew Dawson, potentially. Hey, speaking of America 250, Drew Dawson still got the patriotic wrap there with the paint scheme looking good. Drew Dawson's got to be considered a threat in this race. He has been the most consistent car in the division this year, and really, he's in the best spot for a championship I think Drew Dawson has ever been in. He was actually pretty close to a title in 2021. Drew Dawson finished about 5 points short in that title fight there to Daniel Moss. But Drew Dawson, I think it's a team, the Dawson Motorsports crew, that sometimes fielding 3 cars. Tonight it looks like probably 2, but the focus has got to be on Drew Dawson winning a championship going forward, and he's got the talent to do it, and he's got the support from that Dawson Motorsports crew as well. Gennaro Palumbo was out there taking time. Great to have Gennaro Palumbo back. Scott, he's a young guy that I know you and I both enjoy talking to, and great to see him out racing again.
He hasn't raced with us since the middle of May, and his most recent finish was a 15th place finish. He was involved in 2 incidents that weekend, just hard luck for the 00. It's one thing that took him out last season in 2025, where he had to take a lot of the summer off, but the damages were not as terrible this year, so he's back with us and maybe in the running, in the hunt for this $3,000. But no matter what, if you don't win or anything, it's $500 to start this race. So the drivers are, no matter what, already going home with some cash, and so that is good. It's why we're seeing a couple of them show up maybe a little bit more than we've had. We'd love them to be here all the time, Kyle, but we're glad they're here today. Speaking of drivers, we're glad they're here today. Brad Foy in the 38, making his first start of the season.
Yeah, I love Brad Foy. He's had some great results in this race. And, you know, our buddy Mark from the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation said he and Brad Foy go way, way back. Brad Foy's made a couple truck starts in his career. He's a seasoned campaigner. I think he's another one we have to consider him to be a threat to win this race. He's going to have the car prepared. We've also got Brian Runstrom, who's been great this year in a qualifying time that looked really, really good. Brian Runstrom currently second quick right now behind Drew Dawson. You're getting a look at Trace Daniel in that white number 2. Trace Daniel falls into that category of drivers that I'm talking about a lot, who are due for a race win. They are deserving of a race win, and we just know he's going to get one at some point.
Well, and the tough thing about it is they were really getting a handle on that other car, and this is still, it's the same car, but they did have to change a lot after a big wreck in the middle of May, and so obviously it's a brand new body for them. There's other pieces and components that are new, and Trace is, he said that we're just trying to figure it back out again, and it's really tough, because before that incident back in the middle of May, he had some great finishes of 4th and 2nd on our second twin night of the year, and then he had the big wrecks. It was a 17th and a 17th. So it's tough, because it looked like that win was becoming ever closer, Kyle, right around the corner, and now he's been reset.
Trace Daniel, it's a little bit of a specific stat here, but I'll give it to you anyway. Trace Daniel has led the most laps for a driver that hasn't won yet this season, if that makes sense. So he has run up front some. He's run up front successfully. I think he knows what it takes to win a race. Just needs to close the deal at some point. Here's the number 62 of Ross Mountcastle. Ross has had some bad luck this season. Looking for better results tonight. What a big payday it would be if he got some better results. I think Cameron Goebel was coming out as well, but go ahead.
I was going to say, for Mountcastle, best finish of the season, a 7th at the end of the month of May. But you said it, has had some rough goes. I mean, at the opening portion of the year, had a 22nd place finish on April 4th. There's a 16th in there and a 19th just 2 weeks ago on the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200 weekend. So Mountcastle, one time I asked him, I said, why the grass? What's up with the paint scheme? What inspired this? And he said, man, I love hunting. I love the outdoors. I love being outside. And I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something that nobody else has ever done before. And Kyle, I can officially say that I've never seen a car like the 62 of Ross Mountcastle.
Yeah, goal achieved. He checked that box. I like that, though, too, about wanting to be unique and try to do something different. Trace Daniel with a fast lap.
We were talking about him having trouble figuring out the car, and we didn't even see that he went quick time.
Wow. 15.637 right now.
It'd be a first career pole if he can hold it.
Ooh, that's a great start to winning a race, isn't it?
Yes, yes, it is. And remember, when he caught an invert earlier this season, and he was leading the first 15 laps until Eric Winslow got into him. I believe that was April 18th, just a couple of months ago. But when he had that track position, had the clean air, he was able to defend from Winslow. It was only contact between them that got him all messed up. So give Trace Daniel that clean air, and it may prove the key and essential thing he needed to possibly get that first victory.
And running up front in that race that you speak of is going to really benefit him here. He's got that confidence for his file to know, hey, I can compete with these guys. I can race with all these guys. We got Landon McGowan that has jumped back out there in another new paint scheme, another new wrap for Landon McGowan.
I think it's the same one.
Is it? Could be an inside joke there.
I think the viewers, I think the viewers and fans would really question us if we truly believe that from bright yellow
Yep.
and green to white and black, I think they'd really be questioning our confidence up here. But Landon McGowan, he's got some great partners. He's at Andy's Custard, which I love Andy's Custard, and plenty of other great partners. So it's great to see friends and family and teams coming along to help him out, help him improve in his first year of full-body stock car experience in that number 8. It's a best finish so far this season. I'm looking around. It's a 7th-place finish just a couple of weeks ago. It was a month ago about on 6/13 on Benchmark Community Bank race night. So he's been having some cleaner nights, getting better and better in that number 8. A driver as well is just getting better and better, and we're not surprised, is the 33 of Dan Rogers, 4th in the points currently, about 40 points back. So I think we're going to have the drop races come into effect, Kyle, but most likely, unless something catastrophic happens to the drivers in front, probably out of it for the championship. But still, in your first season at South Boston Speedway, even with the experience he's had a great run.
He has. You were one of his big-time advocates early in the season. You got to talk to Dan Rogers, and you said, I just love this guy. It's he and his wife. They do all the heavy lifting.
Those small teams.
No doubt about it. And the results have just been quietly accumulating and getting better and better. Stuart Cruz in the 45 there with a quick time now that has jumped over Trace Daniel, 15.565 for the number 45 of Stuart Cruz. Wow, way to go. We've got Bev Paragoy on your screen and on track, turning more laps.
Ooh, and up to 3rd for Bev.
Yeah, and remember, here's Tristan Brunelli now with a hot lap. He's currently 2nd quick. With our condensed schedule, you do have to declare whether it's a qualifying effort or not. Our officials know that. We don't exactly know that. So some of those times that were slow to begin with could have been the practice laps. Now as we see people rise and fall, these could be the qualifying laps. Speaking of risers, Tristan Brunelli to the top of the chart.
To the top, looking for a potential 3rd pole in a row. It was crazy already 2 weeks ago when we had 2 divisions scored both of their first 2 poles back to back. Now it could be 3 for the same 2.
I wonder how much of that is the track is coming back to them, right? With a setup, maybe they've been tinkering with the setup all year, but maybe track conditions are just working out perfectly as the weather does get warmer. I remember Landon Pembleton talking about that some last year. Last season, Pembo thought their car was going to work better in the heat, and there was some truth to that last year. Landon Pembleton's car has been great all season this year, but just my point is, I think you see these people getting hot at the right time. Some of it's luck, some of it's preparation. In reality, it's probably an equal mix of both, maybe preparation and luck.
Brunelli said, we have got to find qualifying speed, and they absolutely have. So they've definitely been working at it. And I think probably the track conditions have come and met them. There's always that little bit of, luck maybe is the wrong word, but there's always that condition or swing of the tides or swing of the bat or swinging and changing of ways. But something that's going to come into play because so many drivers, all our drivers talk about how much this track changes. So sometimes it really is a bit of a guessing game. Now, of course, teams with more experience, the bigger notebook, we look at those a lot more to be able to say, oh, we have all these conditions, all these ideas when these things happen, but sometimes there's not enough time to make changes for that. Short practice today could allow some of these teams with a bit of less experience or a smaller notebook to be able to combat teams and drivers with larger notebooks because there's just not enough time to make those changes.
I love that. I love you pointing that out. I think you're right about today could be ripe for a wild card to jump up and win or have a great showing just because of the condensed schedule. Here's Craig Moore in the number 1. Craig Moore with a hot lap. I think a lot of our South Boston Speedway fans know Craig Moore, but we'll do our best to reintroduce as the evening goes on. He's been crew chiefing for Dennis Holdren a lot this season. Craig Moore told me early in the year, I want to get back behind the wheel a little bit more. What a time to do it here for the Kenny Meadows Memorial.
Well, and Dennis Holdren, wanted to step out just for this one race. He said he wanted Craig to see if he could find anything else in the car, anything that they needed to continue to make changes. And actually, it was Dennis Holdren that bought the tires for Craig this weekend. But this is Craig's first start at South Boston Speedway in quite a while. His last race was May 24th of 2025. So it's It's been over a year for Craig, and that's mainly because a lot of his livelihood is being a crew chief, helping out a lot of other drivers. He's been obviously helping Dennis Holdren this year, but Holdren said, hey, I want you to go drive the car this weekend, see if you can continue to shake it down and make it better. Obviously, Moore really fast by about half a tenth on Brunelli.
Craig Moore was a season opening winner in 2024 in the late model division. So now he'll be starting in our limited sportsman field. Well, the man from Rougemont had a really good year with us in 2024 when he was racing more full-time. He actually didn't run all the races that year, but more of a full-timer back then. Justin Dawson is on track in that 88. That car continues to be a Frankenstein car, Scott, because now they got a white hood on it. They have
we've seen a white quarter panel before.
They have replaced literally and figuratively everything on that car in that 88. Some of the worst luck in any division has been Justin Dawson. But, you know, sometimes we talked about whether it's luck, preparation, some of all, it meets you in the middle somewhere and you have a great result. You and I were talking about luck actually before we came on. It's an interesting word because I think we all know what luck is. But, you know, how do you quantify how much of that there is in racing? Who knows? I think a lot of it's just the hard work. And you think about as the year goes on, if you're looking for speed. Like, let's go back to Tristan Brunelli as we get another look at Brad Foy there. We were talking about Brunelli looking for speed, got to qualify better. Well, you keep running down your checklist of setup things and components. Maybe at some point you just change out the right component, right? You know, you just find the piece that wasn't perfect. Obviously, it wasn't stopping Tristan Brunelli from being fast, but if he's looking for more, you get a new carburetor, you get a new whatever, all of a sudden, there's the 10th you were looking for.
Well, and talking about the other side of it as well, talk about that coil wire.
Yeah.
Just over a month ago on June 13th. And so that coil wire, I mean, there's nothing, he qualified on pole, had such a great run of it, and yet gets into the race and on lap 2, slow on the back straightaway. No one knows why, and it's this small little component that swings you right in the other direction. So it really can go both ways. It's really just a swing of the tide. Look at Johnny Lane talking about everything. A 7th place qualifying. It definitely looks a little bit upset, probably not the qualifying that he most likely expected, Kyle.
That's a great shot, though. Again, this is what you get from our South Boston Speedway production team right there. Just that look at Johnny Lane working hard, wiping the sweat from his brow. Maybe I don't need to play-by-play it. Maybe they could just
He's a hard-working man.
He is. I think he must have heard us there. Way to go, Johnny Lane. Congrats.
Thank you, Johnny.
On being our all-time winner. Hey, we've got a little quick shout-out here. Our great buddy Justin Sanders and his wife, Kristen, they've joined us up in the box. Addison and Annalise, you have made the broadcast. So that's something you can feel good about. Of all the families that have made the broadcast, they're the most recent one. No, I mean that. That's 100% true. All right.
That is I've heard that joke for the second time,
I know.
And it doesn't get worse.
Well,
is that another counter negative?
Right, yeah. And well, this is, again, if there's ever going to be a time for comedy, it's right now when nothing's happening on track. But things are happening again,
We're
Scott.
back.
So we got it, yeah. No more jokes.
No, we can always joke. We'll have some fun. That's what we always do up here in the broadcast booth. Connor Waddell, and again, practice/qualifying. So throughout this whole 20-minute session, it's not like the Budweiser Limited Sportsman Division. Any lap, one lap can count at any time throughout the 20-minute session. Waddell, Pimbleton, they'll go out first. I see Bobby Mack out there. Dylan Harville, he's back with us since the beginning of March. He's been practicing all throughout the end of May and June, testing out this car. It's a new car for him. Obviously, it was catastrophic damage on May 21st. He was expecting to run plenty of races with us, but we're glad that he is back now.
We started in the front row on that, opening. Yep, absolutely. And you know, you talk about this session. I'm glad you reviewed what the rules are for this, because you could see when Connor Waddell went out, he's a little sideways coming out of turn 4. It's a little shaky out there. So I think this is going to be a group with 20 minutes here. You are going to be a little conservative these first couple laps. Feel it out, get some heat in those tires, and then try to lay down what will serve as your qualifying lap. We'll keep an eye on the times, obviously. Connor Waddell is at the top right now. I expect some improvement, though. But, Scott, I'll tell you, that's a pretty sharp time from Connor Waddell there, 15.026. If he's already in the O's there, just above 15 seconds, I think that tells you he got on it pretty good there that opening lap or two.
And with similar conditions 2 weeks ago at the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200 weekend, we had some rain come through the day before, a little bit that morning, track dried. Really, we only saw 2 drivers in all of qualifying get into the 14-second bracket. Just trying to think about things and look at the weather, race conditions. I imagine it's probably going to be fairly similar today. Here's another driver that's back with us that hasn't raced with us in a hot minute. Since May 2nd, it's Lane Woods, and he's sporting a new ride this weekend, a little bit of a new paint scheme for him. It's his Life Ring Foundation that supports the fight against childhood cancer, and he actually raised over $10,000 last year in 2025. So you can check out Lane Woods' social media if you'd like to donate to that fight against childhood cancer. His social media is Lane Woods Racing on Instagram. But really great. We love when these drivers they're able to create these causes and be able to create something to fight against them, grab some money, and be able to donate it to good causes like fighting childhood cancer. So we definitely want to shout that out.
You know what's so fascinating too, Scott, is not that our older drivers aren't doing things like that, but I think about Lane Woods. I think about Tristan Brunelli. Let's throw a guy like Minnie Tyrell in there too. Young guys making an impact with people almost their same age. You know, they're not saying, oh, I'm going to wait till I'm settled and in my 40s and 50s to make an impact. They want to make an impact in their teenage, in their early 20s years. So that's really cool what Lane Woods is doing. Great to get him back in the mix. He's got an old Wiley veteran, Stacy Puryear, a South Boston legend, helping him out. We're getting more visuals here. Toby Lane back in the mix. Yes. You and I were talking about Toby Lane. Great to get him back behind the wheel.
Yeah, Toby Lane was involved in a large wreck back on, really in the opening race weekend for all of our racing divisions. It was the second race of the season for them, but he was involved in it in turn 3 with Deke McCaskill, Jamie York, and some of them. And it took him quite a while to be able to get a new car because it is another car. Last year he had a similar incident, and so it's 2 new cars than last year, but we're glad that the 51 of Toby Lane is back with us as well. A driver, bottom of your screen, trying to make improvements off of a hard luck race 2 weeks ago. Peyton Sellers, you don't imagine saying that, but it didn't really come on his own.
No, he really had to fight for everything he got in the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200 and ended up finishing the race and got a decent points night out of it. And interestingly enough, the bottom of your screen is Peyton Sellers. The top of your screen is Landon Pembleton. Those two have developed a rivalry this season. They haven't been shy about talking about it. They said the beef has been squashed.
We'll see.
If
I believe that. Well, and that's the thing. Sellers said in a quote, you can go read. If you don't visit our website, please visit our website, southbostonspeedway.com, and you can check out all of our excellent press releases written by our Director of Communications, Joe Chandler. He writes some great pieces about all of our 4 racing divisions, and one of those pieces was about the beef between Sellers and Pembleton. Sellers quoted and he said, hey, it's really up to him. I'm out here to win championships. I'm out here to win races. It's really up to him on how he's going to race me. There's no question we're going to get side by side, but I'm going to leave it up to him.
And I love that. I think we're so accustomed to that from Peyton Sellers. You know, he's such a professional. He's never going to say the wrong thing on the microphone. And Landon Pembleton is a true professional in his own right, younger in his racing career than Peyton Sellers. But Landon Pembleton says the right things, does the right things. I think a lot of us love the short track rivalries. Now, the other side of the coin, which is not so great, is cars can get torn up. Mm-hmm. Money has to be spent, et cetera, et cetera. But we all know it's short track racing, right? Like there's going to be some contact. I think everybody knows that. It's up to each fan and each driver to determine when is that too much? When is the contact excessive? When is it intentional? All those other things.
And I think that's why we saw Pembleton and Sellers as well get so frustrated and a little bit hot on that May 16th race between the two of them, because it easily could have ended badly for either of them. And not that they don't have the resources to be able to get back in it a week later, a week down the road, but it definitely makes it more difficult, especially when, you know, you race this one car all year. And we mentioned the differences in chassis and cars and trying to be able to get them to go faster and faster and faster. And even if you've had a car that you've been able to test, it really changes things for you, and you've got to be able to go back to the drawing board a little bit.
Speaking of the drawing board, what we see unfolding here is cars went out initially for some laps, coming back in to work on things. Just tweak some minor things, see if you can find a little bit more speed. And, it is a situation also similar to the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200 a couple weeks ago, Scott, in that there's a chance for more weather. There's also no guarantee we're going to get more weather. Mm-hmm. So do you tinker with your setup, maybe hoping that we get a rainstorm and the track has to get scrubbed and dried? Or do you assume everything's going to stay dry and you go with what you got now?
Yeah, I think you got to go with what you got now. Mm-hmm. I think it's hard to guess. I mean, it really is, and I think it is every week. But I imagine the track, and again, this is me being a little bit speculative here, but trying to figure out, getting the minds of these drivers and teams of what they think about each and every week, that the track looks to be, from an outside perspective, fairly similar to 2 weeks ago. And you know what worked there, you know what didn't. So I would say your best bet for safety is to be able to base off of that. Now, that's maybe if you're Trevor Ward or Landon Pimpleton or something like that. But if you're a driver that really is trying to make big strides, if you're Andrew Grady sitting 7th in the points, just, you're out of the championship battle. I want to go for a win. Maybe you do make a big swing at it.
Yeah, take a chance, and maybe the track comes back to you if it does rain. This is CAS NAPA Race Night. They're online at casnapa.com. That's pretty easy. CASNAPA.com. 9 locations across Virginia and North Carolina, including a South Boston location on Wilbourn Avenue. They're in Clarksville as well, and also Farmville. And visit that website to get more locations for CAS NAPA. We're so thrilled to have them here tonight.
Connor Waddell back on screen. And literally this morning, he was talking about, we have a car that has such a great long run. It's been proven to us all season long. 7 podiums in a row, 6 of those being third places, one of them being a second. Obviously, that streak was derailed 2 weeks ago after a 33rd place finish in the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200. But he said, really, the thing that I feel like is the biggest thing holding me back from getting that first race win is qualifying, is being able to start closer to the front and having that fire-off speed.
It's been such an impressive run for him in the month of May, and then the first race in June, he had another P3. Now he's 33rd in the big race, the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200. I don't think we count that against him. That's just such a different animal.
And interestingly enough, you would think that in our biggest race of the season and with the most cars, that finish would hurt you the most when it comes to track points. But actually, it was drivers with 4 previous races at South Boston Speedway that were counted for track points. Everyone got the national points. So really, to the championship competitors and everyone racing here full time, he did not lose a handful of points if you would have counted everybody in the field.
Exactly. And speaking of national points, great transition. The man on your screen, the 77 of Trevor Ward, currently 2nd in those national points standings. He's first in the point standings here at South Boston Speedway. Such a season for Trevor Ward, and this is all on the back of a year last year where he went into the final race night tied for the points lead, ends up losing it to Peyton Sellers. But gosh, Trevor Ward has made a fan of me and you and so many other folks here at the track and beyond.
He has. And did you notice that? He kept the foot on the throttle through the start-finish line for that qualifying lap. I haven't seen many drivers do that this season, or at least haven't noticed it, because it's interesting hitting the chip there, because you let off actually a little bit past the start-finish line, but you actually start turning in before it, so it can scrub some speed. So if you stay straight on the wall, you'll actually miss turn 1, which is what he did, but to get a little bit extra drive, a little bit extra time on the gas.
Yeah, ends up being 2nd on the timing and scoring right now for our pole qualifying here for the Hitachi
That was a little
Energy
bit technical.
No, I enjoyed it. I enjoy the technical stuff. I don't think you didn't get too far in the weeds there. I liked it. They are going for the Anderson Outdoor Solutions Late Model Stock Car Pole Award, by the way. Here's Josh Oakley. No, I want to get a little bit more technical. I think our social media broadcast is probably even maybe perfect for that kind of thing. Because, with the start-finish line being where your qualifying lap begins and ends, there does seem to be some extra importance in, one, trying to carry some speed into turn 1, but then carrying speed all the way through the line there at the end. And then you can really get on the binders after you go across the line in turn 1 if you need to, just to just kind of float through there and make sure, you obviously can't do something that puts it in the wall.
No.
Which, again, we see, though. I say you can't. I mean, you and I have seen that multiple times, the guys just being aggressive.
And it's easy as well to get into the wall a little bit, and sometimes the wall will grip the tires and grip the body panels and keep you there. It's almost like a magnet. So you definitely have to be careful with it. But that's one of the fun characteristics of South Boston Speedway is that our start-finish line is not at the center of the straightaway. It's actually more towards turn one.
Interesting. Here's a note, and this is something that we told ourselves we were going to track. We were going to get scientific, but you think you see more people put it in the wall out of turn 4 rather than turn 2? I feel like we see 4 more.
Really?
I don't know. I think you're disagreeing.
I feel like I noticed sometimes.
Okay.
Now, I think it's less this season than last.
I agree with that,
When
too.
you ask that question, I do see more of last year rather than this season. But I feel like I see a lot of incidents off of turn 2 specifically because of restarts.
Sure.
I think that's everyone trying. You're going double file into 1, trying to hold position out of 2. Normally, it's more likely that you're going to get single file with more vehicles by that turn 4 lap.
No, I totally agree with that. I mean, I think I was in my head initially when I posed the question thinking about
you're thinking coming to the line.
Qualifying in practice.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Qualifying
you're talking about single car.
Because we do see those from time to time in all 4 of our divisions.
I mean, think about Ward. It was a different situation, but when he was coming to the line for his victory on April 18th, he kicked it out of gear. But if he hadn't have done that, he was headed towards the wall a little bit if he hadn't spun it around.
Yep. Well, you can see so many wild things at South Boston Speedway. What wild thing are we going to see tonight? We'll see.
I don't know.
5 races, by the way, fans. 5 races, 270 green flag laps total on CAS NAPA race night. These Hitachi Energy late models, they have the twins tonight, twin 75 lappers, and they have some more time in their practice session here as we get Dylan Harville that's going to zip back out on track. So this is an open session, practice/qualifying. Your best lap time will count as your qualifying effort. And right now, interestingly enough, Connor Waddell, in that first or second lap that he turned full speed, that's the time that is held steady there, just over 15 seconds.
We've spoken about him so many times, and he's so young, but yet he's so mature. I mean, he knows what he's talking about. He's very respectable. He's very respectful to everyone on the racetrack, off the racetrack. And yet he's fast. The Tyler Motorsports crew, he talks about the family connection with them, that he's known Tyler pretty much his whole life. And he's been there for every step of Connor Waddell's career. Imagine what a victory with that team would mean at one of the toughest racetracks, at short tracks in all of the nation.
Great experience last year at Dominion. He was 5th in points, got 3 wins up there. You can't discount how much that helped him. When he came down here, if you'd never raced competitively before and you tried to mix it up in the Hitachi Energy late models at South Boston Speedway, you might get eaten alive. But his previous experiences have certainly helped him, and I think he has the chance to go really, really far in racing. I mean, he really does. Here's the number 77 of Blake Stallings, the Superman. You see the logo there. You and I have been talking about Blake Stallings a lot the last 2 seasons. I mean, one of the most likable guys in racing, one of the hardest working guys in racing. He does have 3 wins here at South Boston Speedway. They all came back in 2024. It's been a dry spell the last 2 seasons. You just never know when the Superman's going to get the cape on and take flight again, though.
And I don't want to say it was his prime, because I think he's still got plenty of great years racing in the Hitachi Energy late model stock car division, but I get sad sometimes when we talk about it. It was right before I got to join our excellent team, and so we talk about how good Stallings is, and I think we see great flashes of it, earlier this season when he picked up his first podium of 2026, but I want to see that victory again, and I know he does. I know everyone at R&S Race Cars does as well, because it just seems like he is right there behind what we call the top 3.
Yeah, Blake Stallings is a top 10 machine. This season, Blake Stallings has finished in the top 10 11 times. Only Ward and Pembleton have finished in the top 10 more. They've got a dozen top 10s apiece. So Stallings, back to his numbers real quick, 11 top 10s, but only 3 top 5s. So he's finishing between P6 and P10 a lot. I guess that's 8 times that he's done that this season. Just cannot quite find those tenths and those hundredths and those thousandths of seconds that you and I were talking about. Peyton Sellers back on track. to make a few more laps?
Only a couple more minutes in this session, so really, if you're going to go in and take Waddell off the top step, you got to pretty much do it now here within these next couple of minutes. But I mean, again, for Waddell, it's exactly what he said this morning. This is the speed we need to potentially win.
Exactly right. And you know what? You might, as your crew chief and team, be looking at those times and say, is it worth us spending another 5 or 10 minutes tinkering to try to get the pole, or are we satisfied? Let's use the example of Peyton Sellers starting in the second row, starting fourth. I think you might be okay with that, you know what I mean? But that's back to what are your goals? What do you want from the race night? What do you want from the season? Is a pole, you know, do you think starting position is going to be critical tonight? I mean, we know track position is critical, Scott, but we also know it's a twin race night as well. We know it looks like we've got 12 cars that are going to start. So maybe starting 5th, 6th, or 7th, maybe that's just fine for a driver tonight.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think for Harville, coming back after being March 21st, a 5th place starting position would probably be a great night already for him.
Yeah, maybe Landon Pembleton rolling off 6th in that row.
He's probably not happy with that.
Yeah.
Probably not happy with that. I think they had a tough qualifying in these similar conditions 2 weeks ago. It was different than how we were through all of the month of May. Looked so good, was qualifying up in the top 3, top 5, and that's what was really helping him propel him to his wins. But we haven't seen him win in a hot minute in that number 0. His last win was on May 30th, so it's been over a month.
Yeah, that was a run where Landon Pembleton, and he's back on your screen again, by the way, in the 0. Pembo won 3 times in a row. It was the second race on May 16th, swept the Twins on May 30th. Actually a run in there, Scott, of 4 wins in 6 races, and there was a runner-up in there as well for Landon Pembleton. He was at his best in the month of May. Those 6 races encompass the month of May. Ran it up to 3rd in the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200. We were impressed with what Trevor Ward did. Obviously, Caden Honeycutt winning the race is impressive, but Landon Pembleton doing what he did to make some hay and really chop some wood and get a podium finish 2 weeks ago, pretty special stuff, I think.
Absolutely. Extremely special for him to get another podium finish and his first of the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200 in his number 0. Still 6th, didn't improve that time out. Andrew Grady will look to improve. He's back in 10th spot. Has had some better qualifyings this year, has had better speed this year. Right now, the best lap is at 15:404, so Grady likely will not be happy with this if it's the time that sticks.
I think I always go back to that quote that he had early in the season in one of those interviews with Joe Chandler, where Andrew Grady said, look, the goal is to run well and try to win races, but we have to have fun. We've got in a mode there for a while where we weren't having very much fun with our racing. So we want to make sure we're still having fun. Now, is it as much fun when you go this long without winning a race like Andrew Grady? We'll see. Andrew Grady might have a better today and tonight at CAS Napa race night here as we get all our particulars squared away. About 6:21 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, Scott. So we're actually getting ready to start our pre-race ceremonies in our Flow Racing broadcast, and it looks like we're just about done.
Brandon Willer's got the red flag in hand, yet to wave, but he's getting close, and we're getting ever closer to being able to say unofficially that Connor Waddell will be a first-time pole winner and taking home the Anderson Outdoor Solutions Pole Award winner. Red flag is now out. These laps will count, and it's not going to be enough for Bobby McCarty and Peyton Sellers, so it is unofficial. First career pole for Connor Waddell in the Hitachi Energy Late Model Stock Car Division for the Anderson Outdoor Solutions Pole Award.
Congratulations to Seaweed. Really great run there in the qualifying. And again, it came early on. They obviously had that car lined up when they unloaded. The little rain delay didn't bother them much because they got out there and laid down a hot lap. Really, really cool stuff there for Connor Waddell. It's CAS NAPA race night. I think we are going to sign off on our social media broadcast here in just a moment. But remember to join us at the track here at South Boston Speedway or on Flow Racing. Sobo on Flow. Closing thought for the social media broadcast, Scott?
Well, go ahead and switch over here soon to Flow Racing. Come and join us. It's going to be a fun night. See if tonight is the night that Connor Waddell gets his first ever career win in the Hitachi Energy Late Model Stock Car Division at South Boston Speedway, and come for what will be a thrilling race for the 3rd annual Kenny Meadows Memorial Race for the Budweiser Limited Sportsman Division. We'll see you in just a moment.
Hello again, race fans, and welcome to South Boston Speedway. Race fans, get on your feet. It's time to turn and burn again here at South Boston Speedway.